Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Maureen with UE Systems. It feels like it's been a minute since we've done one of these, so we're happy to have you all with us here today. So today we are going to be reviewing our UltraView cameras. We've got Alex Cooper, who seems to be kind of our UltraView go-to on our team, and he's going to be kind of talking through the two different cameras we have, the functions, the reporting, how easy they are to use, and the results that we're seeing from customers out there that have been using these. We launched these in August, I think, of last year, so it's still a new and exciting product and technology for us, and we're pretty pumped about it. So we thank you guys for having some interest and joining us today to learn more about that. Just a couple housekeeping notes as per usual. So just letting you know we are recording this. So if you have to hop off early, or if you want to share it with colleagues that couldn't be on, or check it out again later, that will be up on our YouTube channel later today. So we'll have that recording up there. And just kind of to that point, if you haven't been to our YouTube channel, we actually have tons and tons and tons of resources over there. Short kind of how-to videos, longer, webinar recordings, just kind of runs the gamut of information that's available. So be sure to be checking that out. We do love to get questions from you all. Obviously, we can't be too engaging on this. Everybody's kind of hidden behind their cameras, but or their computers rather. But definitely, if you have questions throughout, just pop those in the little questions box. We do have a couple poll questions that we'll do throughout, so we'll appreciate your participation in that. It just helps us better understand where you all are with your ultrasound program, if you even have an ultrasound program. So we'll look forward to seeing your responses there. And as always, we are doing this live. We like to be able to do this live and kind of come together. But of course, that tends to lead itself to potentials for technology issues. So if anybody's Wi-Fi goes out or our audio goes down, just give us a minute and we'll try and get it solved as quickly as we can. Dogs barking, things like that. We'll try to keep that under wraps, but just wanted to point that out. So with that, I am going to turn the screen over to Mr. Cooper, and Alex will let you take it away.
All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, you're going to want to get out of presenter mode there.
Hey, Maureen, are these those snafus you were talking about that might happen?
Oh, I just lost your audio there a little bit.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. We'll go ahead and get started.
There we go. Okay, good. Looks good.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Maureen. I am super excited to give you guys this presentation, and I've done a couple of these already, but like Maureen said, this device is still very new on the market, less than 12 months old, kind of in this space. And the feedback that I get from users is always something that I appreciate. And the more and more we get to see people use it, and the more I go out in the field with it, just everyday things, I get to learn more and more. And so it's always fun to share some of those things that we're seeing, and hopefully you get to see some of those cool value pieces that you can take out as well. All right, so first we'll start off with the UltraView camera. So there are two versions of this device. So you have the LD, which is the leak detection only. So that is going to be your acoustic camera that allows you to pick up those leaks, compressed gas, picking them up from distances, and we'll talk about all the different benefits of that one. And then you also have the UltraView for partial discharge as well as leak detection. So you can either have the device that just does leak, or you can have it that does partial discharge and leak detection in tandem. All right, so just on the basic face of it, when it comes down to leaks, when it comes down to doing leak surveys, why is that something that's important? Everybody understands the value in saving, but when you put numbers to it, that's when it really, really becomes real. and 1/3 of all compressed air is wasted from stuff like just leaks and pressure drops and misuse. So the number one bullet point circle around it item is going to be waste, right? And then secondly, it comes to your energy usage. Energy usage is a big thing, being able to conserve. I'm talking to you today from Houston, Texas, where it is hot as all get out, right? And we got an email today about conserving energy because it's a crucial deal that we all use. And when you're operating a facility that has a lot of leaks, you're not being as efficient as possible, and you're putting so much stress and tear on those compressors that your energy consumption goes way up, right? So energy is going to be point number 2. And then lastly, just immediate results. Now, when you think about it, how many predictive maintenance methods can you use that are going to give you immediate results, right? When it comes to leak detection, it's one of those deals where almost every facility has them. I would say everyone does, but when you do have those leaks and you're able to pick them up and see how much it's costing you immediately in real time, and some of those things are going to be easy fixes, right? I always tell people there's a good and bad about leak surveys. The bad news is that you're going to be surprised by the amount of leaks that you have, but the good news is that the majority of them are going to be easy fixes. We have stuff like loose connections, those regulators not working correctly, stuff that you can fix almost immediately. So immediate results is always a good thing when it comes to your reliability and maintenance program. All right, so ultrasound. So why use ultrasound when it comes to leak detection? Well, number one, the way this camera works is a lot like our other devices that we use for leak detection. We are still detecting turbulence in the atmosphere that's being generated from those high frequency sounds whenever there is some type of pressure leak or even vacuum leak. So that's one of the questions that I get routinely is, hey, is this device going to be able to capture vacuum leaks as well? And the answer is yes. So we have a lot of data to show people out into the field and they're picking up different leaks and they're like, we would never be able to find this using other methods. So this camera will also be able to pick up vacuum leaks as well as your standard pressure leak. The other thing too that I believe that really sets, or one of the characteristics of this device that really sets it apart from others on the market is your background noise, right? Everyone's always worried about competing ultrasound, different sounds at my facility that's going to block out potential signs that we have a leak. Well, this tool has 3 different filters, as well as AI that allows it to be able to detect the pattern that a leak makes, and it's looking for that specific sound to know if, in fact, you do have a leak or you have something that could be a possible false positive. So that's one of the biggest difference makers. So it's blocking out that background noise with not 1, but 3 different filters. And then lastly, ultrasound is extremely directional. So it makes it very easy when we implement all these other strategies to find out where that leak origin is coming from. So we're able to pick that up pretty easy. Those false positives, and we know exactly where that problem lies. All right, so when it comes to what this tool looks like on the face, so real time on the field using it from left to right. So you see you have a black and white screen, right? And that's for the specific reason so that you can see that color contrast whenever you do find the leak and any abnormality on the screen, right? So from left to right, we got your display that shows your leak rate, your decibels, and that's going to be all important because that decibel level is going to be used in conjunction with other factors to be able to determine how big or how severe that leak is. You got your zoom options, so you can zoom ×1 to be able to pinpoint a certain area. Next, you have a cool feature that you can do a single point or multi-point inspection. So what that means is that you can decide to scan an area and just pick up the biggest leak in that area, or you can do multi-point, which allows you to see all the leaks in a given area. And that's extremely useful when you're talking about going on a leak survey for a large facility, right? I can pick up all those different leaks in an area and cut out the time it would usually take to conduct a leak survey. Excuse me. Now we have, when it comes to that estimate for your loss and your leak size, it's still going to generate the numbers for the biggest leak in that given area, but it's still a very useful tool for that single and multi-point option. On the bottom, you got your Wi-Fi connection, just like your phone or any Wi-Fi compatible device. You're able to see what your strength is, and that's super crucial because This device allows you, as you're taking pictures and you're notating what's going on with all those different leaks, it's sending that information to the UltraView cloud. And that's extremely important because as I'm going along, by the time I get back to my laptop, by the time I get back to my office, my report is ready to be generated. There's no more waiting to, hey, where did I take this picture? Or let me write down this tag number. None of that, right? So all that information is already in the housing that it needs to be. I just need to hit generate report. On the bottom, I got that camera icon, and I'm able to take snapshots as well as videos. When you do take a snapshot, it already automatically takes a 4-second video, which is super helpful that you can play back when you get to the UltraView cloud. You can see where that leak is, what that sound looks like. You can even see the time waveform as you go through your deeper analysis. On the right, you'll see that distance marker. And one of the key features that I'd like to highlight today is just that auto distance feature. So your camera is going to do all it can to be able to auto adjust for the distance between where you are and where that leak is. Now, if you want, you can do that manually. You can help optimize the device by putting in, hey, I'm roughly 20 feet away, 100 feet away from where I think that leak is. And then the device will do some of its own work, partner with that AI so it can figure out how far you actually are away from that sound. And then on the top, as you see, you have those different filters, right? And all of them are on kind of a scope of different frequencies, and they use that to be able to block out different sounds. And that's working in conjunction with that pattern recognition to know what's actually a leak and what isn't. All right, now if you look at the face of that UltraView, look at all those dimples, look at how they're spaced apart, not very symmetrical, right? So each one of those are extremely sensitive and extremely smart sensors, MEM sensors that allow us to be able to have the highest accuracy and also have that incredible distance, being able to locate leaks from a depth of over or distance of over 430 feet, right? And we wouldn't be able to get that as well as the accuracy with any less number of sensors, right? Why is it not 125? Why is it not 123? Because 124 is where our 10 years of research and development went in to find out what we need to make sure that it's exactly how we want it. So that's why it's set up that way. And being able to be that accurate allows you to find some of the smallest leaks, 0.00014 CFM, right? Extremely tiny from distances way beyond what we previously had seen. So multiplying those number of sensors are the reason why we get such accuracy and we're able to get that long range distance, right? I've been to facilities now that this tool has been out and we've been able to scan from, catwalks and far distance places because maybe we aren't able to get to a certain area, or maybe they're conducting something that's hazardous for us. We can't, as people, we can't get that close because it'll be a dangerous situation. So we scan from a safe area and we're able to get just as accurate as if we're right next to it. All right, and then the other thing that I get a lot whenever I'm taking this tool out or whenever our users purchase it, they're like, hey, tell me about using this device, right? And I say, well, you turn it on and then you just shoot, right? You just hold it to where you want to inspect and the device does all the work. All that onboard analytics and the AI that's incorporated into it, it is working and doing exactly what you need it to do. Being able to find those small leaks, pinpoint their origin, being able to scan areas extremely quickly. So you're being efficient, extremely efficient, as well as you're having that onboard analytics show you how severe that leak is, what it's actually costing you, and you're able to put together a report as soon as you get back to your laptop or your office to be able to hit generate. Now, being able to see a leak is extremely easy because you're able to see that different contrast on the screen, that black and white. I'm able to pinpoint that color code. The green that I'm going to see is going to be kind of pressurized air or compressed air moving around, high frequency tones moving around. So somebody can snap their fingers, they can rub their hands together, anything to generate high frequency tones, and it's going to show up green as that as that leak or as that sound source gets louder and louder, the colors are going to change. You're going to see a yellow, you're going to see a deep orange into a red, right? And then that pattern detection is realizing what is actually a leak or what's air just moving around. So it eliminates that sense for false positives. So we talked about some of the onboard analytics, but what that pattern recognition is doing is it's recognizing the sound that a leak makes and discerning it in between the sound that a forklift makes or a shop fan or whatever it may be, right? I'm being able to have a reliable estimate and understandable display of what it's costing me, no guesswork. So that's the biggest kind of value piece of this tool. It's bringing you ease and showing you all this information in real time. Now, two things that are very important are your auto distance and your auto filter feature. So you're able to adjust your distance if need be, but this device is going to be working as you're using it to adjust the distance, and you're going to be able to tell how far away you are from that leak. And that's important because as sound dissipates, it gets weaker, right? Sound is always loudest from its origin. And that's important because to be able to get the most accurate result of how much that leak is actually costing you or how big it is, you want to be as accurate as possible. So I need to know that I'm 20 feet away from that leak rather than 40 feet, right? Because as you travel, that sound is going to get less and less, which affects your numbers. And then that filter feature, for different environments, you're going to want to use different filters, but that device is going to work hard to be able to get you on the correct one at the same time. And when we talk about filters, here are the different ones. So you got your SLM, your Ultra, and your High. When it comes to your SLM, this is the best filter to find the smallest leaks, some of those really hard to find ones when using other methods. And this also allows you to have good detection distance. When it comes to Ultra, if you're in an extremely noisy environment, you want to use this Ultra filter, but you want to be careful to only use it at short distances, right? This isn't the one I want to use over 100 feet away. This is one where I'm closer and it's extremely noisy. I'm going to put it on Ultra. And then lastly, that High filter is what you're going to use when you are further away. All right, so we talked about how smart those MEM sensors are and how they're state of the art and the 10 years of research and development that went into them. But all of that is important because, as I said earlier, as sound travels, it dissipates, right? So by a force of 6 dBs, every time the distance is doubled, it weakens. So the camera is adding in that math, doing that math for you, so it gives you the accurate reading every time you go out. And you don't have to worry about that once you get back to the office or when you're putting that report together. All that is done for you. So a couple examples of what it might look like on your screen to see different leaks. You got your refrigerant to the left, your valve leak in the middle, and your pipe joint leak on the far right. And you see how that contrast is. So there's no mistake on where that leak is actually coming from because it's black and white. That color shines out very, very bright. All right, so we talked about the UltraView Cloud, and this is what it looks like, right? So a very, very straight to the point, but all the information that you need is in that report. So if I took a picture of where that leak was, I can see my decibel level, I see when it was taken, and on the bottom of that top page, I can see the cost, and I can also see that leak size estimate, right? All the information that I need. I'll also have a sound file that I can play back. And like I previously said, each time you take a snapshot, it's going to come with a 4-second video. So I can play that back and I can as well. So like I said a couple of times, it's extremely smart and it's using all the information that it's previously taken in to be able to discern between what is a leak and what's an unrelated machine noise. So even in a picture like this, where you got a bunch of different assets giving off different high frequency tones, it's showing you where the leak is because it knows the difference between that and something operating normally. And if you're familiar at all with our leak detection methods from our other tools, you'll know some of this information and how we come up with our leak size estimate and our cost, and it all stems from that formula at the bottom of the screen. So if you wanted to use our app and some of our other methods, you can double check some of this work, but the device does all of that for you. So with that, I'd like to jump into our first poll question, and we'll put that on the screen in a second, just to see where you guys are at, to see how many of you guys are currently using ultrasound for your leak detective methods.
All right, so yeah, so our first one is just more are you actually using ultrasound at your facility? We're just kind of curious, yes or no. So those are coming in. Looks like it's about 75% yes. And we've got a group on here that's not. So that's interesting to take note of.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for participating in that. About 75. That's a good number. So let's see if we can get that other quarter in.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes to using the UltraView for leak detection, man, it's just easy, right? That's the number one and the number 2 points. Because of your ease of detection, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Because you're able to find and identify where that leak is coming from, it's going to make the process so much more efficient. And then you're able to find out how severe that leak is in real time and when you put together that report. All right, a couple other features. Any updates that you get, you will be able to have those updates automatically go to your device. And that'll happen in the background while your device is on. So once you're connected to Wi-Fi, it's automatically going to do that in the background, so you don't have to wait. It's not like an iPhone update where you got to put it down for a few minutes. But those updates are going to come automatically. Next, people always ask me, what's the minimum distance? We always talk about that the furthest distance is about 430 feet. So about 1 feet, you can be able to find those leaks with that high accuracy as well. You might be able to do it in shorter distance than that, but about 1 feet is what we're confident in. You have the ability to add your running hours as well. So a lot of facilities, they may not run 24/7. They may not run all the time. So you can change your hours to make sure you get the most accurate representation of what those leaks cost. Next, we talked about it already, those auto distance and filter features. So the device is already working to figure out the best filter and what distance you're at. Single and multi-point, if I want to see all the leaks in the given area, or I just want to see the biggest one at one time, I have that option. So if you aren't connected to Wi-Fi and you have to save some of those photos or snapshots that you're taking as you're going on your leak survey, you have 32 gigabytes of internal memory. So you have more than enough to be able to save those photos and those sound files until you're able to upload that information. And if you don't have that Wi-Fi connection, you can hardwire your device to your UltraView cloud via your computer, a USB port that's on the top of the device, and that's going to be just as easy as the Wi-Fi as well. So once you get that connected up, it's going to automatically load up and you'll be good. Next is real-time calculations. We already talked about that pattern recognition, being able to eliminate some of those false positives. You got a protection class of IP51, so it's a very sophisticated and smart device. So I wouldn't suggest doing a outdoors leak detection when it's raining pretty hard, but it'll be able to be pretty durable. And then also a very important feature too, if you want that estimate to be as accurate as possible, and you are familiar with doing leak surveys and you know how to get that correct number, you also have the option to select the environmental temperature and the relative humidity in a given area. I'm in Houston. Our humidity is always very high, right? And that changes how sound propagates. So if I wanted to add that into my device, I can put in the relative humidity for that day and the temperature to make sure I have the most accurate number. And so that's just another option. All right, perfect. And that is the first piece that we're going to cover when it comes to our UltraView camera, that leak detection side. So I'd like to pull in that second full question right now, if we can.
Okay. Let me pull up my poll here. And all right, so now we're just wondering, you know, for those of you that did say that you were using ultrasound, what applications, and you can pick more than one, are you using it for? It's just always interesting to kind of find out what people are doing with the technology. So it looks like we've got, wow, 88% are using it for leak detection. About half are doing it for bearings and lubrication. We do have about 40% doing electrical and steam. So we've got a nice variety there. That leak detection number's bouncing up to like 90%. So we've got a lot of folks doing a good job of being on top of their energy conservation. So good job, folks.
Oh, awesome. Great. We got the heavy hitter there. Perfect. All right, now we get to jump into an equally fascinating part, and that's the UltraView camera for partial discharge detection, right? So when it comes to using this device for partial discharge detection, there's some key factors as well. Number one, obviously electrical inspecting can be timely and it can be very, very costly, right? So it's estimated that almost $6.5 million is lost to facilities for one time whenever it comes with some type of electrical impact. And then the second, which I think is the most important, and I think most of you would agree, is safety, right? In 2020, there's 126 people that were lost due to fatal electrical injuries. And so the biggest thing that we want to drive home with partial discharge detection is safety. Being able to have that distance to be able to find out if you have something that's potentially dangerous from a safe area is key. And then lastly is time. Just like with leak detection, being able to do a safe electrical inspection with this tool, it's going to be vastly better in terms of your time, be much more efficient. You're going to be able to scan larger areas in a shorter amount of time. So just like with leak detection and any airborne ultrasound, you're still picking up that turbulence. When there's an electrical anomaly, it's still going to generate a high frequency tone. It's still going to cause turbulence in the atmosphere. And that's so a lot of people, a lot of industries, a lot of facilities, they use infrared when it comes to their electrical inspection. That's a great tool. But what the UltraView can do, and I think where it separates itself for partial discharge, is that it's going to pick up those anomalies before heat is generated, right? So faults like corona that don't put off heat, you're going to be able to pick those up just as easy as finding a leak, because this device is just using the same technology. It's just looking for that turbulence. You're going to switch it into that power mode, so it's going to know exactly what it's looking for, and still going to be using that pattern recognition, the PRPD, so it can find out what's going on and then show you what's going on. And then lastly, directional, right? So we're still using ultrasound, so we know where that sound origin is coming from, so we can pinpoint where the issue is. All right, so there are some applications that this tool will be better suited for than others. Number one, are the very best is going to be for early stage partial discharge detection and air insulated substation and power lines, right? Some of those big heavy hitters, trying to find out if you got a very humid day, trying to see what type of corona that you may have, being able to survey that from hundreds of feet away, that's going to be ideal. Next, what it's going to be good for is detecting leakage of pressurized gases and high voltage equipment, right? A huge safety deal right there. Now, where it's not going to be the best tool to use is for any type of enclosures, right? So it is a camera, so you want to be able to see what you're scanning. So if something is enclosed, then the device can't do what it was kind of built to do. So that's where the difference is. So if you're looking for some cabinets, if you're looking to inspect some cabinets, you might want to use one of our ultra probes or something that can go along the sides to pick up any type of ultrasound that may be coming out of those cracks or any space for any air to get through. All right, and once again, those sensors and what they're doing, working in conjunction with that AI, it's going to be able to give you the most accurate reading of what's going on. It's not only will it tell you do have an electrical anomaly, but it's going to tell you what it is. And we'll talk about that when we get into the UltraView cloud. All right, so the way that PRPD works is it's recognizing that sound that particular asset is giving off, right? So tracking and arcing have a very distinct sound, even as we hear it as humans listening to low frequency sound. When we hear that, we can tell, hey, that one's different. If you spend any time around it, that one's different than the other one. So the device is doing the exact same thing. It's being able to discern the difference between those two and all other electrical anomalies by being able to recognize patterns. So here's a really good picture of an open cabinet, and I have this device set into the power mode. And as you can see on the top right, and right next to where your filter is, you see that little graph there. So what that is that's your PRPD showing you that, hey, what I'm picking up right now is in fact electrical. And that's in real time, right? You can't get any more accurate than that to be able to understand what you're picking up. Hey, is this a leak? Is it picking up some reflection? No, you have that scale on the top, and that's showing you that you have an electrical anomaly right there, right now. Some views of what different anomalies look like. You got surface or internal discharge on the left, negative, positive and negative on the far right. All right, so let's get into this reporting, what it actually looks like, and what that value could be for you. So you see in that report, I have that picture of where I found the anomaly. I have all the information, and then you see you have that PRPD scan at the bottom, right, or in the middle, and that shows me that in fact the system has picked up something that is electrical in nature. And then on your severity chart, right next to it, it's showing you that it's a high level incident, and it's something that you need to get to immediately. And it's even breaking down that, hey, this is classified as a surface or internal discharge. The discharge appears to be strong and might rapidly escalate. So no more, hey, maybe we got a month, maybe we got 2 weeks, whatever, right? It's showing you, hey, it needs immediate attention right now. Of course, you're going to be able to have that sound file to be able to discern it and confirm what the device is picked up on the bottom. So put that on an FFT and be able to dissect it as well. And then the biggest thing that I always try to bring people's eyes to is the recommendation. Not only is it telling you how severe it is and what's going on, but it's also telling you what you should do and how you should start to make that corrective action. So if you use any of our tools, and it sounds like a good chunk of you are for electrical inspecting, you'll be familiar with our spectralizer. So you can take these sound files and put them on your spectralizer as well for the time waveform and the FFT. You'll be able to capture both of those from the UltraView. So you can double confirm what the device has found. All right, so on the left and the right, you see the difference in when you're in the power mode versus air mode. So on the left, you're in the air mode. So that tool is trying to pick up any type of compressed air leak. On the right, it's picking up any type of partial discharge. So you'll see that graph on your top right, and that's going to be your dead on to say, hey, what I have going on is electrical. It is something that I need to save and add to the report, put on the UltraView cloud so it can tell me what's going on. All right, and then when it comes to using the UltraView for partial discharge, it's going to sound very similar to the leak detection portion. It's just the ease of use, right? When it comes to electrical, you don't want to mess around with it. I've seen enough training videos to know that it's extremely serious. It's something that you want to take care of immediately. So before things even generate heat, you're going to be able to pick that up. Now, how many predictive maintenance strategies can you say will be able to pick up electrical issue before heat is generated? That is extremely huge. Next is that PRPD, that 10 years of research and development, that AI function, all the onboard analytics that was put into this tool to be able to pick up what is going on, to be able to tell you as well as give you that severity. And then lastly, all the other information that you get to put into the report, dissect over time, take to your electrician, be able to make that corrective action every single time. All right, I think I'm going to give you guys our last poll question.
Yep. All right. So last but not least, and we're being a little blunt here, but just so we don't bother you if you aren't interested, but we do be sure we get in touch with you if you are. But just curious, who would want to see this, demoed at your facility where you can get your hands on it. You can get a leak survey done at your facility. You can go out and do some electrical inspections. Just want to be curious, who's ready for that next step. So I appreciate you guys filling that out. Looks like a few more people are voting, so just give it one more second here. All right. Couple more. Okay, cool. All right.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys so much for participating in that. And that brings us to the end of our presentation from my part. Thank you guys for all being in here. If you guys have any questions, like Maureen said, I am one of the SMEs on this particular tool. You can get my information from our website. Always happy to take a call or take an email, whatever you guys want to learn more about. If you have a question in an hour or a day, but anybody at our corporate office will be able to take those questions as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome, Alex. So we did have some people writing in some questions. I was trying to kind of answer them, in the chat, but I'd like to toss to you a few of the ones that were kind of common, just so that we can get them answered for everybody. But one question that came up multiple times was about intrinsically safe and whether the cameras fit that rating.
Yeah, that's a great question. So currently the device is not rated. So we don't have a rating on it just yet. So I've seen some people use hot work permits where that's allowed, but it isn't rated at this current time.
Okay. And then, hold on a second. I lost my place here. Let's see here. Another question was kind of just like people wondering, like, if they've got a lot of plexiglass in their facility, is this camera going to be able to detect leaks that might be on, coming out of places that are behind the plexiglass?
Yeah, so that'll adjust your leak a bit. That'll adjust your reading a bit. You want to be able to get to an area where you can kind of get around that, I guess. But it should still be able to see it. If your camera can pick up what you want to inspect, it should be able to show you something, right? Being able to make it as accurate as possible, the plexi might affect it, but it should show you where a leak is coming from.
Yeah, and like I said to the person that did ask that, a great way to test that is obviously just to have one, whoever your regional manager is come out with a camera and walk around and see for yourself if that works. Another thing that I was kind of trying to keep up with it with the folks that were asking, but anytime we do one of these, we tend to get a lot of questions about vacuum leaks or kind of these unique applications that people are curious if the camera will work for. And as I've said, and as we'll kind of continue to say, really our kind of stance on that is, to ensure you're going to get the best return on your investment on these cameras is for traditional leak detection or electrical inspections like Alex went over with you all today. And then, get your return that way, get the value out of the camera that way. And then if you want to go play around with these other kind of potential, applications where it might work, then great, then maybe it will. But for us, kind of our stance is like, we want to kind of stick with what the real purpose of these cameras is. So sorry, Alex, I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay, question about the kind of the software. So do you have to use, like, what if a facility isn't able to utilize the cloud or doesn't have Wi-Fi for for the data being transferred up to the cloud? What are some of our solutions for those situations?
Yeah, for the Wi-Fi question, you don't have to use Wi-Fi. You can still hardwire into your computer with a USB cord from the top of the device, and it'll download all the information on the UltraView cloud. If you can't use the UltraView Cloud, I would suggest that you find some way to use it because it's extremely helpful. But if you absolutely can't, you can combine the readings that you got from the UltraView with some of our other software devices. So you can use our app to be able to put together the information that you've collected and come up with a report from there. So that's always an option too.
And actually, and we haven't officially put this out there yet, but we do have 2 new software options that will, or one that will let you get the reporting without the cloud. It's going to be kind of more basic reporting, but there is going to be an option. So for those of you that are in facilities where it's just your hands are tied, don't let that stop you from pursuing this. We've got some solutions for that. Awesome. Okay, so like I said, we did get some good questions. I think we've gotten through most of them, but we will for sure follow up with everybody offline just to make sure you're satisfied that your question has been answered. And like Alex said, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I'm just gonna hold on a second. I was gonna just pull up my, I don't know why this is. Well, I was going to do a closing slide here, but now my computers decide to get crazy. But anyway, so you uesystems.com, you go to our YouTube channel. We would love to chat with you if you guys have any questions or are interested in learning more. We thank you all for being here with us today, and definitely appreciate the time spent. Alex, great job as always. And with that, we will let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day, and we will catch you guys later.